Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back, and it is time for another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. Today we have got ourselves the cream of the crop as far as GSL winning Korean ex-Kespa best of the best players go. And I think that's honestly a pretty fair assessment with these two guys, because in the top right hand side of the map, now representing Raise Your Edge Gaming, it's Zest, and we all know the rhyme for him. And in the bottom left, we've got INnoVation, playing for Kazi Gaming. Kazi? I don't know. I like that team name. He's a Kazi Terran, is the way that I like to say it. And so yeah, INnoVation and Zest, two of the best StarCraft 2 players of all time. If you guys have followed the scene, if you're new to it, that's basically what you need to know about these two guys. Zest, he was a menace in Pro League for a long time. He's won the GSL a few times. He looked just undefeatable at other times too. And INnoVation, same goes for him. And that's why when I looked at these two names, I thought, why do they stand out so much? And it really is because of their past results, not just in individual tournaments, but back in Pro League when that was a thing. And so now we take a look. We'll see how these two guys are going to decide to proceed in this match. I mean, INnoVation, he's going to be SCV scouting. INnoVation is not the Terran you tune into if you want to see something a little bit unique. He's probably going to go for a timing attack, something like that, maybe some light harassment. There's always a chance that he could completely change it up into something else, but Zest is the guy who might make the game a little bit more wild. He likes to fly a little bit hot, or burn a little bit hot, and so we see him throwing up a pylon out on the map already. Now, INnoVation, his SCV has came into Scout, and he has seen the lack of an extra pylon. So he very well could know that he's going to be getting proxied just off this SCV Scout alone. I mean, he didn't check out all of Zest's base, so there's a chance that Zest, they built the pylon here or something like that. And that's why I think that INnoVation's going to be diving on in here, looking for that pylon, looking for that tech. But alas, there's no tech. And in reality, it's just a proxy Stargate out by the Ursidon. I feel like if you really want an RNG element to where you build your proxies, just build it next to the Ursidon on these maps. Reaper is out on the map for INnoVation. Gonna be looking for this proxy. Zest ballsily, I'm not sure that's a word, but very ballsy, built it right next to the Xel'Naga Tower, which INnoVation could have easily clipped his Reaper next to just to get that big vision circle, but he hasn't. And so INnoVation, he's just getting up his bunker, he's making a Widow Mine, worried about some sort of proxy. And with the rise in Void Ray, Tempest, Shield Battery shenanigans, we've been seeing a lot more proxies, and so INnoVation is probably a little bit concerned right now. An Oracle is on the way, though, for Zest, so pretty usual play. SCVs, Mules might have to run to the bunker for safety, but INnoVation is actually going to decide to move his Marines just to the ramp, so there is a chance that this Oracle gets in here, and I bet Zest is going to target down one of these high-value mules. A mule kill is around 250 minerals fresh. And so let's take a look. Oracle comes on in. Gonna settle for an SCV. Gonna get a second SCV, actually. So two SCVs for this proxy. Not too bad, but could very well get more damage. And so we do see it. The Oracle really playing with fire. Actually picks off a Marine. Runs out of energy and has to get out of there. But good work by Zest. All the while INnoVation did build this Widow Mine, and it was hiding behind this patch here, if you guys couldn't see that. Just right underneath those SCVs. And so INnoVation takes a little bit of damage from that. It's not game-ending damage. However, Zest, he's going to be following us up with a rather quick third base, a 4-minute third base off the back of this. So he slowed down INnoVation a little bit. He's got the Oracle, and now he's gonna make the game commence forward, or proceed forward, by just going for this Nexus and playing the way that he likes to play. And if you guys remember back in, say, 2015-ish, that was when Legacy of the Void first came out. Maybe 2015 to 2017, I'll say. It was the very quick 3 Nexus play that Protoss were doing, that Terrans were having a hard time punishing that specific timing. So we saw Terrans go for a lot of very early proxies in response to that, kill the Protoss before they even get a chance to throw up that third base. Because it seemed that once the Protoss did have it situated, Terrans had a hard time punishing it. And so that's not so much the case anymore. Terran does seem to have more options in the game. Playing it later is more acceptable these days due to Terran players having the Ghost as an option later in the game. Just having a better understanding, maybe even better mechanics, just at dodging disruptors and things like that. Things that usually would scare Terrans into the late game. But yeah, now we take a look here. 1-1's on the way for INnoVation. Stimpak, he's got a third base done. He's got a Cyclone, a Raven hanging out on the high ground with a Widowmine. These Stalkers for Zest could be about to blink on in here, so we'll see if INnoVation does anticipate this. Widowmine gonna actually hit one of the Stalkers. Bit of a mistake by Zest. I guess his blink wasn't quite done. His Oracle gets locked on by the Cyclone, gonna make life a little bit hard for him. And Zest actually decides against blinking in there. And this is actually somewhat scary for INnoVation. I mean, if we take a look, that's 11 Stalkers out on the map under Zest blink control. And there's only one tank for the Terran player, so INnoVation went for the very quick 1-1 upgrades, getting up all of his production and everything, and it actually did cut into his ability to deal with these Stalkers. So all of a sudden, he's a little bit scared now by what Zest has. Raven's out on the map, but oh, terrible, terrible move by INnoVation. Moves that Raven too far to the east. Stalkers pick it off. Zest is a shark, and he pounced at the right moment. Or I guess a cat, I don't know. Some sort of apex predator, that's for sure. Zest with that killer's instinct, able to pick off that Raven like it's nothing. And all of a sudden, INnoVation, he's now got to think. Worrying about DTs, so he's got missile turrets building. Actually worried about a Warp Prism, partially. And I believe the Oracle's still alive too, so that could very well come in and get some damage done later. And so INnoVation losing that Raven really hurts a lot. A Raven is 300 resources, guys. That's no small amount. That's like picking off like the equivalent of 6 Marines in a sense of resources. Now we take a look here. INnoVation is getting up his tank line, so he's not going to have to worry about a direct attack from Zest, but behind this Zest, he's already up at 69 workers. That's just crazy, and this is one of the things that Zest does best. He just gets this fast third base up, and he builds this incredibly strong army, and it's terrifying as a Terran because then he uses his blink Stalkers to keep you pinned, keep you back at home. Constant threat of pressure makes the Terran have to wait as long as possible to move out. And so INnoVation feels confident just now to move out with his army. But look at that, Zest grabs a Medivac while this is going on. Zest has been doing this for years and years, just sniping off Terran units left, right, and center with his blink Stalkers, and he scares INnoVation home. The Medivacs for INnoVation are forward once again, too, so he's got to be careful. Zest targets down a Marauder, gets out with a Stalk. Oh my gosh, no, actually, Zest not paying attention for a second. I think he was trying to micro that Oracle to keep it alive, but that was definitely not worth it. Loses about 3 Stalkers there. I mean, he did a perfect blink to get the first one to retreat, but then he just stopped paying attention and lost all those Stalkers. 3 Stalkers in all, I think. Now, Zest, he is getting up to Psystorm, however, he decides that he's just going to morph in Archons to have those units for the defense immediately. He's got a very high Zealot count to start pushing towards INnoVation, and INnoVation's bio alone definitely can't take a fight against this many Zealots. There's currently 21 Zealots to 17 Marines and 10 Marauders, which is actually a very good ratio for the Protoss, and that's Zest on this scary economy. That being said, Zest, he got to a very scary economy quickly. INnoVation, however, he's not scared, essentially. He's not just all-inning off 60 SCVs, 3 bases. INnoVation is electing to throw up a 4th command center. He's getting his 2-2 tank upgrades. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Ghost Academy or something else go up. Maybe a 2nd factory for more tanks, which has been a bit more of a Terran style lately. And so I really do like it how Terrans are taking this game later. Zest is one to let scrappy situations sometimes get out of his control. And so if INnoVation can get into the late game, a chaotic situation occurs. Maybe he can snatch a victory from Zest. However, if we do take a look, Zest, he's just sent in a ton of Zealots towards the 4th base, says, wait, no, that's not there yet. I'll send those guys in later. And INnoVation is just sitting back at home like, look at how little INnoVation has moved out on the map. I mean, he had his first Reaper Scout. But other than that, he's barely been on Zest's side of the map. He's just been defending, and he actually killed off that Prism of Zest, by the way, which is huge, I'll say. That was unfortunate. I didn't quite catch that, but yeah. Good for INnoVation. Zest, however, is planning to play that very, very annoying late-game Protoss style, which you throw in the DTs with Blink. The thing about DTs is that they require a very definitive response from the Terran. It requires enough units to be in position. It requires a scan or a turret to ensure the DTs get killed off. And if you don't react in time, the DTs can get damage done. They can kill off the units that were sent to clean them up. And all of a sudden, things can go very, very sour for the Terran. And so I do like that Zest is going to have this in his arsenal. INnoVation's getting 3-3 on the way. Zest is getting up 3-1 on the way. So INnoVation does have an upgrade lead for now. Zest is getting up a 5th base. He's got a very, very high mineral count already. That's because he's been maxed, because INnoVation hasn't stepped out to force a fight. We do see Zealots moving in towards this PF. That probably wasn't worth it. I think they got a tank. I'm not actually sure what they killed. It wasn't a tank, whatever they killed, but not quite worth it there for Zest. But he does have the bank to make plays like this happen, and oh my god, this is what I was talking about. The DTs, like, the amount of Terran response that it takes to deal with, oh, this is what? How many DTs? 14 Blink DTs, which is around the magic number for Protoss. It's absurd what the Terran needs to clean this up. And so we're going to be seeing Zest moving towards the 3rd base. There's a few tanks. There's a Viking, but these DTs are just going to blink on in. They're going to start getting shelled by the tanks right away, and so the tanks actually being in position for INnoVation are pretty good for them. But look at that. 12 SCVs died, no pun intended, in the blink of an eye. Zest did lose 5 DTs, so that probably wasn't the most efficient trade for him. And now INnoVation is going to be on high alert, but oh my god, Zest just decides to warp in another 13 DTs in his army. And for a Terran to engage this, it's like, how are you supposed to handle 20 DTs running around the map? Like, knowing how to split your army is not a very easy thing to do against this unit composition. So we see INnoVation, he's been playing very passive this game, but now he's electing to move it to the next stage. But oh, this is where things are going to get tricky. INnoVation, he had units at his 3rd, units at his 4th, but nothing at his natural. Zest just takes the straight shot right on in. Ghosts do pop out, they can EMP the DTs, and they do, so that's a very good start. Zest actually gets scared, recalls those DTs, so that actually worked out very well for INnoVation. There's now a double medivac drop going to be moving towards the main base of Zest. Zest already used his recall on the DTs, so that was an anti-timing for Zest, not having that recall to help him out. Zest gonna lose his Twilight Council, gonna lose some gateways. Or lose his Cybercore, pardon me, gonna lose some gateways. Now that's actually not the worst damage in the world. INnoVation's not getting a Nexus or anything. He's now gonna move towards this base, or if there's DTs waiting, ready to gobble up these units, and the DTs, yes, they get scanned, but they're actually doing okay against this bio, because they're just so lethal, popping those units off in a second. INnoVation has to load back up into the medivacs. He killed 7 probes, he killed off a gateway or 2, killed off the Cybercore, but it did cost him about 2 medivacs full of units. And he has kept Zest back at home while this is going on, but look at Zest's bank right now. It just goes to show how the Protoss economy scales differently from the Terrans. Once a Terran has up a strong economy, it's very hard to destabilize them because they've got PFs, they've got extra orbitals for days and things like that, but it does take quite a while for the Terran to max out and start building up his own bank before the game gets to that point where Zest, he's sitting on 5 bases with 7,000 minerals in the bank. I wouldn't be surprised, or we really should see a few more Nexus get thrown up for Zest. I like him throwing up this static defense. I think it's an absolute must. I'd even like to see more of it since he's got a casual 7k. So throw up another Nexus or 2, Zest. Throw up a ton of static defense with them. That's what I want to see. Throw up a few more Robos, by the way, so you can go for a Colossus transition at some point. Instead, Zest, he's just happy to be playing around with his mass DTs. He hasn't made a Disruptor. He's only got 1 High Templar out on the map, which is just crazy if you think about it. He doesn't have that good of a late game composition, but he's so confident in his DTs that he's just going to be going for it, charging in, blinks on top of the tanks, picks those off. He's going to now give the PF the hug of death, the hug of Ayers. or not Ire's Dark Blades, gosh, I'm drawing a blank, guys, on the planet that the DTs live on. Belshears? Maybe? That's the one? But yeah, oh my god, Zest is actually just playing Mass Dark Templar against INnoVation. He kills off the PF, he killed off all the tanks. Probably an okay trade for the Protoss. And now look at this, INnoVation. He's postured a cute little army in position to try and deal with the next round of DTs, but look at this. Zest can literally just blink on top of this, and there's nothing INnoVation can do. The DTs are gonna come on in. They're gonna just blink right on top, and there they go. Getting on top of the Ghost, the tanks, they just disappear. INnoVation has to run away. He loses 16 SCVs amidst this. And Zest is actually trading cost efficiently because he's just got a critical mass of DTs. As long as he gets these out, he's gonna be fine. INnoVation scans, runs in with some Marines and Marauders. But it just goes to show how hard it is for the Terran in order to have the right amount to deal with DTs. It's just not that easy to know. And so INnoVation, he left too small of a portion, he got gobbled up. And ladies and gentlemen, I kind of forgot, but at this point, since there's been 50 DTs in this match, can we please try and hit 50 likes on this video? That would be amazing if you guys could slap that. And now INnoVation, he's trying to do the splitting game. He's doing okay. As Zest, he's got such an amount of supply in DTs that INnoVation is actually fine for the most part against this portion of Zest's army. But if the DTs join in, and they do, they blink right on top of INnoVation's army. INnoVation's not paying attention. He didn't even get an EMP off on the DTs. He's all of a sudden in a world of trouble. Tanks repositioning. But oh my gosh, this is such a ridiculous game from Zest. I think Zest is just memeing at this point. Tanks are going to shell away on the DTs, but it looks like the DTs, with their blink, going to close the gap, pick off all the tanks. INnoVation does have Bio in position to deal with this. He's getting up a much-needed planetary fortress, and he has got building armor, which I do like to see, but Zest, he's just continuously poking and prodding with his mass DT composition. He's doing okay cost efficiency-wise, which is alright for the Protoss playing this style, as throwing mass zealots and DTs at your opponent wouldn't usually be considered the best strategy. But it's going alright for Zest. The PF isn't quite done for INnoVation. He's going to have to run away with these units. There's just too many zealots. The PF does finish up, but yeah, still too many zealots, all the while Zest is attacking INnoVation now over on the left side. The DTs are a little bit committed. If they get EMP'd, they could be picked off, but INnoVation, he's trying to micro all over the place, trying to pick off as many of these units as he can, and Zest is just creating chaos on INnoVation's side of the map. All of a sudden, INnoVation, who had multiple bases, is now broke as a joke. Zest is just rallying in more zealots. Oh my gosh, the way that Zest is playing this game is just insane. The PF is gonna get attacked by these zealots. It will get cleaned on up. INnoVation is still taking okay fights, and his main base has been saved for the most part, but there's just DTs everywhere. The Terran player has lost a ton of SCVs. And what a disaster for INnoVation, just losing bases, losing units left, right, and center. Zest is down to 100 supply, and he's on 16 gateways, so he can just warp in more. But he's actually very broke on the gas front. He's only now just getting up a 6 base. He could have taken like all these extra locations if he wanted to, but he's like, no, I'm just gonna keep making DTs and hopefully end the game soon. Zest is now deciding to throw up yet another Nexus, which is good to see. Why not? He's also decided to warp in 19 Stalkers, and now he's actually going to be looking for a big attack into INnoVation's base. There's DTs, there's Stalkers getting on top. EMP is going to hit the Protoss force, but there's just not enough for INnoVation, as most of his army is split up out on the map. He wasn't expecting a big attack with Stalkers and things like that. And so, all of a sudden, INnoVation could be in a bit of trouble. Zealots are moving forward incredibly good, unless the EMPs land on top of them. There's EMPs going down on the Zealots. The rest of the bio coming in for INnoVation could help clean this up. The supply's actually in favor for INnoVation army-wise, and so he's definitely not out of the game just yet, because Zest is playing in such a crazy way. But INnoVation isn't in a great spot either. Like, if Zest was all of a sudden to transform his 50 minerals... Oh, by the way, the Oracle just comes on in because Zest is styling like that. But yeah, if Zest was all of a sudden to transform his 5,000 minerals into zealots, then he'd definitely have a supply lead. And he might just be able to roll over INnoVation. For now, though, Zest is kind of just sitting back, warping in a single DT. Is that because his gateways are on cooldown or what? But he warps in more Stalkers, more Zealots. I'm not sure this is what he needs to close out the game, but he's kind of got free reign for now. And he's still keeping the game in his control. INnoVation, though, he's still got an R8 army. He's got 88 supply to Zest 87. Zest is not even at that high of a probe count or not that high of an income at this point. But it's good enough for him to keep this game going, and he's going to try and nab a win with Mass Zealot Stalker after he's already lost 71 Dark Templar this game. Oh my god, Zest was like, hey, I heard Protoss were making a lot of Dark Templar these days, so I'll give it a try. And now INnoVation looks like he's about to lose his planetary fortress. One of his last real mining bases, the SCVs, will be in trouble. There's now Templar in this prism, going to be getting Psystorms down on INnoVation's army. Without the Psystorm, Zest's army isn't actually that good, but if he lands good Psystorms, he can absolutely just clean INnoVation's force up. The Terran player is going to try and push Zest back, but with one stim already going onto his army, I'm not sure he can take a fight, as his bio will actually wear thin surprisingly quick. There's now a DT hitting this base, but that's actually getting cleaned up by INnoVation. However, the Terran player's just on such a low economy at this point. He's got a decent army, but Zest is going to come in from all sides. Despite the mass EMP, I think Zest's army is going to be enough to clean up INnoVation. The main portion of INnoVation's army gets surrounded, and Zest is going to take it with mass Dark Templar. What a match. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, Zest is just a madman. How many DTs was that in all? There was 72 that died. There was none on the map at the end, but wow. That was ridiculous. And I like how I was trying to understand the way Zest was playing. But it got the win, so it doesn't really matter. I was honestly just shocked by the fact that since he had 7,000 resources in the bank, he didn't just take like all the bases, but he just kept INnoVation pinned down and just kept attacking and attacking. And he actually traded out, not cost efficiently, but not uncost efficiently, which is a lot to say for such a composition that doesn't usually do well against bio, like Mass Zealot, Stalker, DTs, but it did well enough for Zest. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to go ahead, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel and you want to get more content, subscribe, it's free. Join the Discord. If you haven't, it's linked down below. Consider becoming a member by pressing that join button. And by the way, if you are a subscriber, but you actually want to get notified whenever I put up a video, go ahead and press that bell icon, as that actually does make sure that the YouTube notifications make it through through this series of pipes to let you know that there's a new video up. But my name is LaughNgamez. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.